We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe, and we are going at breakneck speed with this latest episode, Morningstar. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by Rachel Burt, CosmoMom09, and OG Squawking D, Carol G. Now, you'll be surprised to hear that my mic is actually working this week, because I don't know what happened. But I guess I had this little guy's mic on, like on both ends, and so I had to do the best possible edit that I could with the tools that I had. And I'm sorry, but you can hear the dulcet tones of my baritone. Well, actually, I'm more of a tenor. But anyways, we're back. And we are going to go through this episode as quickly as possible with my new voice again. I'm happy to see you guys here. Thank you for joining us. I think Carol is going to take us through this episode, since Rachel's hit rate has been relatively high.
I really liked it. I think it's the best episode so far this season, I would arguably say. I don't know. I love the cinematography, the pacing. I loved getting ready for the battle. I loved all the prepping. I loved, like, the horizon. That was
Michael Satrazemis, by the way. That's who directed this episode again.
No, he did a really good job. Like, it looked really amazing. Yeah, I kept waiting. I was like, oh, we're not going to get to the battle until probably the very end, aren't we?
You could like tell as the episode went on.
I was like, yeah, man, it's not going to start this episode. I was like, it might start, but it'll start the last, and I think it was like the last 8 minutes or something is when we like got started. It was like, okay. So, I mean, it was cool, the anticipation. I'm very excited about Stephanie, on a side note. Very excited about that. So, like, because that's going to lead us into, obviously, another direction, literally, West Virginia direction.
Yeah, Charlton.
So, yeah.
Charleston.
So, Carol, since we're on this topic of Stephanie, I wanted to ask you specifically, are you feeling any, do you trust her?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Wholeheartedly, like...
Wholeheartedly.
Even all the loops we've been thrown through, all the differences from the comic.
Yeah.
You still trust her?
I have faith. I have faith in Stephanie.
So what about you? Rachel?
I mean, I want to trust her, but I don't trust AMC.
I know. It's hard to trust.
Especially after Dante, right?
Right? It's hard to trust anybody anymore.
I see. And you did ask this before, by the way. You asked this like, I don't know, was it during the preview, the teasers when we did over the summer, I think? I can't remember.
When we heard her the first time?
Yeah. Either that or... Yeah. You weren't ready to say yes right away until now.
Yeah. I feel, I don't know, I'm leaning more towards this is a good thing. Eugene is finally like, he's stepping into his own, man. I'm like, I'm so happy for Eugene. I would be really disappointed if this does not work out. Like, this is just, he's engaging with somebody. He has a connection with this person. I was like, oh, good for Eugene, like he's not even tempted by Rosita anymore. I was like, good for you. I was like, that ship has sailed, like that's it. Good. It's like, that's your BFF, like you said. I'm like, cool. Yeah, it's your friend. That's cool. So I don't know. I hope it works out. I have faith that it will, just because of the other stuff we've heard of, like, I don't know, people that they meet along the way. Like, we know that they're going to go in that direction. Like, it is going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I'm hopeful that Eugene isn't disappointed when they get there. But I have faith. I have faith that it'll work out.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny where we came from and where we got to with Eugene? How the fandom was bullying him off of social media one day.
I wasn't.
No, I know.
I wasn't either.
I wasn't either.
Eugene.
I've always loved Eugene.
From the moment we podcasted, we are all Eugene. There's no reason to hate his ass, because we are Eugene on a good day.
Yeah.
On a good day.
I think Eugene is the smartest person in the apocalypse, and not just because he's book smart. I mean, he knows how to use his smarts to survive. And I don't mean just like building things. Like, he knows how to align himself with the strongest people around him. He's smart in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. He's not brute strength, so he has to find a way to survive. Whether it's aligning himself with the right people, like just kind of like using his wits to, outmaneuver the opponent. He knows he's smart. He's a smart character, and he has good intentions. So
I think so.
I'd rather call him resourceful, I think.
Yeah,
Like,
I would say
he
that.
He uses everything, at least everything he tries to, everything he has, he tries to use.
I will say that, yeah. So, yeah, but I thought it was really well shot. I was really kind of like waiting. I was like, oh, here, like when they were all standing, like waiting, I was like, here we go. All right, coming. It's happening. So it was
like, and then you're like, is it happening? Is it happening?
I mean, like when they started,
It's taking a little while.
It's taken a little while. Like, I'm curious to see what happens now that it's officially kicked off. I think it's interesting what direction the show went, because this in the comic, Alpha's already dead by the time that this all happened. So they've definitely kind of mixed it up a little bit, you know, like her still being like the orchestrator of all of this, you know. So yeah, so it's interesting, you know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm very excited for next week's episode based on this, but I think it was a really good setup. But it didn't feel like a boring setup episode. You know how sometimes there are some episodes that are, okay, this is a setup episode, and it's just sort of like, all right, we have to watch this because it's setting up for the next one. But yeah, it did set up for what's going to happen the next episode, but I thought it was really still engaging. Like, I was still like, wow, okay, you know, like.
So basically all of Fear the Walking Dead season 5, basically. So
there you go.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But
No,
not. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
You could also look at it like one long episode of everybody saying their goodbyes to each other. You could look at it that way too.
Yeah.
I felt like
this
that was
episode,
yeah, everybody was just sort of like, well, we're probably not going to make it out of this one, so.
It was kind of like a Beatles, for some people, it was like a Beatles hello goodbye. Because some people hadn't talked to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Yes.
But I was hoping the battle would kick off partially because like there's like a scene, and I don't know if maybe in the end they kind of did, like they framed the scene at the end with Daryl, like with the angel wings, like in front of like the fire or whatever. And I wasn't sure, because in the comic there's a really cool scene like that, but it's obviously not with Daryl because Daryl's not in the comic.
Who is it?
It's Maggie.
And
so like, so part of me also was thinking like, okay, well, we know Maggie's going to resurface within the next how many episodes left of this season. So I was like, is she gonna where does she come in? I'm like, I would lose my shit if she like showed up like defending the hills. Like all of a sudden it's like, where did Maggie come from? I don't know. But like, I'm like, I don't know, but she's here. That's cool. I don't know. Or she came through like Dante's tunnel. I don't know.
Her
like,
and the twins come right.
Everybody just makes their way through the tunnel. That's how she got there. I don't know.
surprise!
Surprise! I'm
It's like
here.
a cat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, surprise kitty.
Right, exactly.
Like,
right from the hole too.
yeah, right from the hole. So I don't know. Wishful thinking. I was like, well, maybe Maggie will show up, and so I don't know. But she has to. But she's gonna show up like in the next like how many episodes? They keep saying it's like, well.
What was that? Keep hitting things.
Sorry, I am. Yeah, my cat jumped on the table. I'm sorry.
Speaking of cats.
Exactly. Maggie jumped on the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my surprise cat jumped on the table.
You've made it so that I could actually keep that in the episode. It's great. Surprise, Maggie. You're not the first person to say that too, by the way. I mentioned this before we started, but like that very night, probably Talking Dead wasn't even over yet, and we had some of these spoilery teasers that probably either weren't meant until like Thursday or Friday that were out. And I don't want to get into them because, like, honestly, I don't support it. I don't support like
I didn't check them out.
that kind of drip thing.
How does that happen? I mean, does somebody who is involved in the production have to leak that for other people to get a hold of? So there's actually somebody, a part of the show, doing this. That to me is the most painful.
No. So, as you may or may not know, AMC. So I'm not saying AMC, but like I think S Valhalla / Sky. I don't know who's involved in the production team.
Company.
So they got syndication, and I think AMC is a part of that. But they, you know, in the markets in Europe and like Turkey and all that, that's handled by Fox Europe. And so my guess, it's probably somebody on that side. Usually the leaks are coming from Turkey. So some asshole in Turkey.
Okay.
That's
it's
like,
nobody.
I work at Fox, and like, so they like leak the teasers that are scheduled to go out throughout the week.
Okay.
So it's like
not someone that works for the show.
No,
I can't
don't think
imagine
so.
anybody would do that.
And I don't even know if some of these scenes are even like, they just look, because I got a gander of one of them. I'm not going to get into it, but it looks like that shouldn't be in a teaser. It's a very situational confrontation, and it's like it could be seen as an extended teaser, but it looked, as soon as I figured out, I don't know if I'm supposed to be watching this, I just kind of shut it down. Because it was two key characters having a conversation where in these, like in the teasers that we just watched before we got on, like there's no indication of this confrontation happening.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know, like what's the point? What's the point anymore? Like, why do you need to not be surprised? It's not like as if Glenn and Abraham are going to be dug up and killed again. You know what I mean? So,
Man.
Come on, man.
Too soon.
Yeah, I know. Well, is it?
It's
Anyway.
always too soon.
So, yeah. I mean, it's like kind of like Norman Reedus said, I think the episodes that we're going to see from here on in, they're going to be just cutthroat, breakneck, just zero fucks given, like who's going to die. And
there will be deaths.
Yeah. It would be like AMC to not have Maggie come out into like the final frame, honestly.
The final episode, yeah.
And even then, the way I feel like they're going to do it is it's going to be like, I don't know about time jump, but like, 3 months later, Maggie's just like around. Her entrance was, no, but doesn't that make a little bit more sense?
That would suck. That would suck. That would be such a cop out.
Okay. They can't do that because that's how she left. She just took off.
But they had a time jump, and it was like, "Where's Maggie? Maggie's not here."
They can't do that
like not like a big time jump, but like her dealing with the aftermath of like finding out all these people are dead, etc., etc. Because that's the one thing that I've been dreading is her seeing all this stuff that's happened in the last how many years. Because and one thing that I didn't mention in the last episode that I want to mention in this one is that I think at a certain point the letters to Maggie have gone unanswered. They have been trying to update her in the manner in which they've been updating her. I don't know if there's like a mailbox somewhere.
So maybe that triggers like concern, and that she kind of like comes looking based on like.
Well, for a while the twins were running messages back and forth, right?
For a while, and
Georgie's twins.
Yeah,
I think they stopped at some point, if I remember right. I can't remember which episode where that was mentioned.
I remember this. I remember the scene between Jesus and Tara, and they were talking about the letters. And Jesus made a comment, "Oh, we haven't heard from Maggie in a while." Like that. It was very in passing, but I do mention that. But that was it. There was no explanation. They didn't say like, "Oh, the twins stopped." Like there wasn't anything more to it. It was just we haven't heard from her in a while.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So I
think it's really, really important that we see how she come back, though. I really, really hope they don't jump over that.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
I would be disappointed.
Yeah. The only reason why I would even say that is that it's just a lot. It's just a lot to have to deal with all at once. And I get it. I mean, I'm with you, but I just don't.
Maybe she's connected to Stephanie. Maybe that's how the intro.Maybe that's the segue. Maybe there's some connection there.
Maybe she is there. Yeah. Maybe.
Well, if Georgie is Pamela, that would make a lot of sense.
Right. So it's possible. Maybe that's the tie-in.
Oh my God. Can you imagine that, like, all this sneaking behind everybody's back, talking to Stephanie, Eugene, and it's like Maggie's been there the whole time.
No, what would be really funny was like Rick just kind of popped out like, "Hey, you're here too?"
I think everybody would throw up. Like, throw up. They would throw up.
Right there.
It's just everybody. The world threw up the day the world threw up.
Right. Everybody's just been hanging out in West Virginia.
Hey guys, where you been? Where have you been?
Close enough to DC, though. It works.
People be dying.
Makes sense.
I don't know. Yeah. That Rick is just, I don't know. I don't see him coming back in the show. And I know this is very ancillary and we haven't even really started talking about the episode yet, but like when they say he's never coming back to the main series, I believe it. And it actually makes a ton of sense because I don't know how you reconcile the Judith thing. Like, I don't know how you get them together, to be honest. I think it's too far gone. Like, I don't see a world in which Rick Grimes would willingly abandon Judith, you know? I don't see it.
Right. I agree. And I think that's part of it. If they do, I'm with you. I don't think he's coming back. But if they do, they've got to explain some sort of like incapacitation, memory loss, something. Because, the Rick Grimes we know would never stop trying to get back to family.
Unless they was told that they died. I don't know.
Right.
That's the thing. So,
right. I mean, given wrong information, yeah, sure.
Which is why I'm like even like on the fence about whether Michonne will even show up in the movies. I know people are gung ho about that. I just don't think people should like 100% think that that's going to happen.
No, I think that they would just leave the door open up for the possibility, but I'm not convinced that that would be what's going to happen.
Right.
I don't know.
When these movies come out with Andy Lincoln, he might be the only person we recognize in these movies. I think we're going to meet an entire new cast of people. I don't think anybody will be on there that we know.
I think Jadis Anne will be there.
Oh, sure.
Don't you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, when they land and get off the helicopter, I would imagine they would go their separate ways. She brought the product, and he is the product, and I don't know. I don't know what they're planning on doing with A's and B's.
I do feel as though I can't remember who mentioned this in what interview because Gimple's been actually running his mouth lately.
What?
Which is interesting. Because I think somebody mentioned something about Heath, like as a kind of like, yeah, I think you it'd be reasonable to expect him.
Yeah, you. I was the one.
You're not Gimple, though.
That was me.
Yeah, I went there.
I've been saying it for like how many years now?
Carol, did you theorize that Heath was a whisperer now?
No,
I did hear that from someone.
I didn't hear that.
That's a strong possibility. That could be.
I mean, if those are the only people you stumble across, you got to survive somehow, right?
Yep.
Oh,
I'm just saying that Heath is alive and kicking somewhere. He might be a whisperer. He might be at the Commonwealth, but he's alive.
Yeah.
What was that guy? Remember that guy from season 1 that Daryl murked? The guy that Daryl murked in season 8, like in one of the first few episodes? Like he just stabs him in the head as he's having a monologue? Yeah, Morales.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't that be interesting that Heath was kind of like a Morales on the Whisperer's side? And then just somebody murks him out again? Oh, did I do that? Man. Like, and it would be Daryl again.
Yeah.
It would be comical if it was Daryl again. Because like that Morales shock of like seeing him lasted for 5 minutes and then he was killed off. It was like, oh. Okay.
You know, Heath.
I was talking to him.
Heath couldn't be a whisperer though because his glasses would never fit under someone else's face.
That's true.
Animals don't need glasses.
But Heath wouldn't be able to get too far.
No. He'd be stumbling over everything.
You never know how with people, you know, like after a while, how much they change too.
Yeah, maybe your eyes would. I don't know what your eyes would do without glasses for years and years. Would you just get used to everything?
You just like feel things out, like the
sure,
like blind.
It would be the new normal.
Yeah, exactly. You get by. Speaking of Georgie, I noticed that like the records, like that, it makes sense that there wouldn't be any records because Georgie has the good ones. First of all, like half of them aren't even in their cases. And like I just like love how Eugene is, and like you guys said, like Eugene is so perceptive that he figures out how close he is to Stephanie based on the satellite dropping from the sky. But there was one question that I actually had that I'm very hesitant to ask because it is something somebody, at least one person, I'm not going to name drop because I don't know if they want to release this idea or theory, but has the thought ever occurred to you that perhaps Eugene is on the spectrum?
No.
The autism spectrum?
I hadn't thought about it. I never really thought about it.
Just not because of the way he behaves and says things per se, but like how much of like almost like a man baby he is in terms of his maturity level in a weird way. Like he's just very underdeveloped emotionally.
I'd have to really dig for that one. I think it's just his personality. I think he's just a shy, dweeby, socially awkward dude.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah, I always thought that too. But
he's always the smartest person in the room, and so he doesn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's all that smart though, too.
Well, I think he thinks that. That's what he's thinking. Yeah, that
explains a lot. But no, and I don't want to drive that point home. I just thought maybe I'd bring that up, and I could probably just skip over this. But
I hadn't thought of it. That didn't pop in my head. Mm-mm.
Well, the one thing that does refute what I just said. Is that I do admire the fact that they show Eugene's growth in his confrontation with Rosita initially, when she basically screws his pooch, basically.
And he's like, "You get out of here, get out."
Before I say something,
yeah,
he like barrel into her too. Like he knocked her out of the way, and she was like jostled, like,
yeah,
dude, like it's me.
Yeah, but it's
that's what made me think of the other thing.
Oh,
so that's why.
I think this person, Stephanie, really matters. And like, you know, he's always been like kissing up to Rosita, but it's like, you know, again, that ship has sailed, and it's like he's really been protecting and nurturing this relationship, you know. And I mean, it's not like hostage negotiations, but kind of like, you know, if you hostage, you know, you're
it's almost like life or death for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, this connection, you know, can be life or death, you know, because I mean, beyond like him liking her, it's like, you know, this is a resource, and you're building a relationship of trust, and the whole idea is that like I will talk only to you, and it's like, okay, that's the way this is played out. And for her all of a sudden to just kind of be like, hey, who is this? It's like, whoa, dude, like, first of all, this isn't your radio. Like, secondly, just, you know, very presumptuous of you, Rosita.
Although it isn't. Wow. It's funny that you said that, because wasn't she also, when they were back in Alexandria, wasn't she also working the radio? I mean, also with Father Gabriel, but Eugene and she...
Oh, yeah.
Well, remember, there are different radios. There's each one of the communities has a radio, because that's how they were they were communicating between the communities. So I don't know where she was, but like each one seems to have like its way of communicating, because when they were going through like everything before with the whispers, and like Judith was on one and like he was on one, so it's like it seems like they all have a means to kind of like communicate. I don't know.
Sure.
Well, but what I'm talking about is like season 9 with Father Gabriel and she, and then late season 9 with I think Eugene and she, and then beginning of season 10, obviously there's the fire and the satellite crashes and blah blah blah, and then things change because he takes all the parts and takes them. Does he eventually take them to Hilltop, or does he bring them straight forward to Hilltop? I think he does, and so it ends up being him alone trying to figure this. No, he was tinkering with the parts initially at Alexandria, I think, right? And then Rosita and him were having these conversations, I think, because do you remember how like we were observing how Eugene Sadiq and Father Gabriel was absentee Father Gabriel, and Rosita's punching bags, and so he is around Alexandria for a little while. So and he and Rosita are pretty close.
He leaves because she officially friend zones him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But they were at the radio at the time.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So and the only reason why I bring this up is because I thought the same thing as you, Carol. Like, what the fuck what are you doing? But then, like, when you said that, I'm like, oh shit! Wait a minute. They were working on the radio, so it kind of makes sense that she would just go, "Hey, hello." Hey.
Well, and because
they were used to not hearing from anybody.
Yeah, well, and she thought it was somebody from Oceanside. That was the comment she made.
Right, because who else would it be, right?
Exactly. Who else would it be?
Well, yeah, when you get months and months of nothing except from your local communities, why would you think otherwise, right? And has anybody figured out what this Blue Weevil thing is? Like why he calls her Blue Weevil? Weevil?
Blue Weevil.
Yeah, which sounds really, if you say it too fast, it sounds like Blue Evil.
Blue Weevil. No.
Is that foreshadowing?
I hadn't looked into any meanings of that. I was focused on the song he was singing.
Is it like an acronym? The only thing the thing is that it really kind of like, wait, why is he calling her that? I mean, it is a beautiful version of the Weevil. It's an insect.
Okay, weren't the Weevils the problem they were having on Fear the Walking Dead? Isn't that what came and ate all the crops?
Yes, it was Weevils.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, the beginning of season 4.
Yeah.
At the Diamond.
The Diamond, yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Well, just so everybody knows, the Weevils are pretty pernicious, and they deplete your grain stores, and they're hard to get rid of, like in Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, but other than that, I don't know.
It sounds like something that should be little and fuzzy, though. A little weevil.
Yeah, exactly. And yet, I mean, they are beautiful insects, some of them, but in the blue one in particular, they are pretty gorgeous. But I don't know. Maybe it's a Eugene thing. Maybe that's his way of calling her beautiful. I just thought, because whenever we hear things like that, by the way, we always kind of like try to tie it into like something that's a little bit bigger. And there is one thing that it could be, but we often find like things like Judith and Carl's handprints that they leave behind on the porch that they take with them that Rick puts on the wall, right, at Alexandria. And then there's the painting, Jadis' painting, when she's painting with blue paint, the cat, I think. I'm not sure. So you do see instances of blue, so I don't know. I don't know what it exactly means, but I'm curious, because now, whatever.
Well, maybe blue is like a sign of good, and red is, well, no, red's not bad. Glenn wore red. I don't know.
So Gabriel's love test with Rosita. The one thing that I do want to mention with this one thing is, okay, forgetting the fact that, okay, classic AMC fake out. Kind of like with Michonne and Ezekiel, remember that whole thing when we saw that scene and we all freaked out? And it did happen, but it was like, in another life. But this made people absolutely crazy. Like, I don't know. In your opinion, what made you more crazy?
Neither.
Like Michonne and Ezekiel, or Eugene and Rosita?
No, because I know what AMC does. It's like they're just trying to bait you. So I was like, none of this is going anywhere. I was like, this is not like, you're not going to like you're not going to put it out there. Assuming that Connie survived the cave, if she comes out and Daryl like grabs her and puts her in an embrace, they're not showing that in any of these previews. Hell no, they're guarding that like a safe, like because
Maggie's
it's like,
return.
Yeah, exactly. Like they'll guard it as like closely as that or whatever. But when they like kind of throw out these scenes and like previews and stuff like that, I'm like, this is not going anywhere. This is a dream. This is a fake out. This is like whatever. So I was never like, oh my God, Rosita and Eugene. No,
what did you think, Rachel?
I didn't think that they were going to get together by any means, but I was definitely driven a little more crazy by the Eugene and Rosita scene rather than the Michonne and Ezekiel. The Michonne and Ezekiel thing, I'm like, no, whatever it is, it's nothing. But the Rosita and Eugene thing, it's nothing. No. But Rosita and Eugene, like, I don't know, I had a lot of different ideas. And like, one of which was that one of them had died. And this was a dream sequence of like what might have been. So that kind of had me a little panicky because I didn't think in the real world it would ever happen. I'm like, all right, if they're actually going to kiss, one of them's dead and they're dreaming this. So, but yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Rosita sort of proved to Eugene that he did have feelings for this person and that it's not stupid to feel the way that he does having never met her. They may even have a better connection, having only talked and spent, which it sounds like it's only been a few days. Is that what Eugene said?
Like a week or so, yeah.
He said these past few days have been incredible. Oh, yeah. And I thought, what? Okay, I was thinking like weeks.
I was thinking weeks. Yeah, I was thinking weeks.
Yeah, but guys, like, let's say it was a week,
let's
right?
Think about it. No, but wait a second. The initial connection with Stephanie, like the hello, or whatever, that was like the end of, like, that was at the storm with the winter.
Right.
So
but nobody was there to pick that up, right? No, but nobody was there.
But we don't know if like the connection started at that point. Like she kind of like she kind of broke through at that point. Like the connection with that community was able to be picked up at that time. So we don't know from that point on when they started with the communication.
You know, what radio was that picked up on? Because was it the Kingdom?
No,
had the Kingdom had already fallen.
Yeah,
right.
The Kingdom had already fallen.
Now, was it Hilltops or was it Alexandria? It had to be Hilltop, right?
I thought it was Alexandria because Hilltop's radio wasn't in operation until after the satellite crashed, right? I think Alexandria was the first community with a working radio. No? No,
because there was the conversation between Judith and King Ezekiel, too, at the end of the episode.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah,
right.
So...
But which from Alexandria, right, to Kingdom.
Hilltop.
That works. Kingtop works. You might as well. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just not sure which side. It would make more sense that it would be Hilltop just because of like you're higher up, right?
Frequencies.
And you can reach more. Okay. There's less obstruction, right?
Makes sense.
This means less obstruction. Anyway, so that makes more sense to me. But I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because the point that I want to pick apart, and then I'll go back to something else with Eugene and Rosita, is it's good to remember that, Carol, what you just said, because why? Why is Stephanie reaching out as early as the storm or whatever it was, or the last episode really? Why was she trying to reach out? That could play into what happens or what's the state of their union, let's say.
Yeah.
At the Commonwealth, maybe.
Yeah, the Commonwealth has its own issues.
Right.
And that's a really good point. If Stephanie's reaching out, you would assume it's like for help, right? But now that she's actually in communication with Eugene, she's like, oh no, we have to be super careful and da-da-da. Well then, yeah, like you just said, why did she reach out first then?
Right. See, because it's all these little nuggets that you drop and then you just kind of forget after a while. It's like, oh wait, she reached out first technically when you think about it. But going back to...
We're also assuming that was her, right? I mean...
I am.
Is that
I'm assuming, yeah.
There's just no reason not to. Yeah. There's no reason not to.
You're right.
Right? But it kind of... It makes it a lot more interesting than like Maggie or like...
Yeah.
To me, in my opinion. Like right.
No, yeah.
I mean, but like Anne or Maggie or whatever. Or Alicia. Really, whatever.
It's nobody from here.
going back to Rosita and Eugene, though, I just thought what was really cool about what Rosita did was it was kind of like a little hybrid of Rosita, in my opinion, Father Gabriel, because she's learning about faith. And she knew she had that kind of confidence that he was not going to kiss her because he knows her, Eugene. And she's like, I got God on my side. This man ain't going to kiss me. Testify.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she was confident in his feelings for Stephanie, that it was like her point was going to be proven, you know?
Right.
Like, she was like, he's not going to go through with this.
No.
Right.
But I'm going to like put it on a platter and see what happens.
Yeah.
And, like,
I'm just attributing that to Gabriel, in my opinion, though. That's how I'm doing it. Because that's what I want in life.
well,
That's my agenda.
You cannot rely too much on Gabriel. Gabriel's not going to be around for much longer. So.
Oh, snap. Shots fired. She's going canon. She's going canon. Comic book canon.
He's not going to be
You don't
around
touch
for
my
much
Gabriel.
longer.
You don't touch him.
I am
No.
sorry. I am telling you right now.
Did you see last week's episode? Did you see it?
I saw it. Good for him, because he's going to need
No,
all
good
of
for
that.
me.
All the more reason we should expect him to
Yeah.
go.
Boy, I am actually hot for Preacher right now. It's got to come off right now.
Preacher.
Oh my God.
Oh
Sorry.
my god.
It's fine.
He's-
This is my way of accepting.
I know.
Anger is one of the steps.
I know.
So-
I know. Listen, if there's any consolation, he will go down epically, in my opinion. He will.
I'm hoping he doesn't have to. I'm hoping.
Maybe they might switch it up. Maybe,
What's that?
you know, it could be switched up. I just think that, like, I mean, so I wasn't on the last podcast, but I mean, like, even when it's like, okay, goodbye, or whatever, and they say goodbye to each other, him and Rosita, I'm like, yeah, you guys need to say goodbye, because
You got to do better than that. It's a wrap for you.
yeah,
Seth Gilliam.
it's like Glenn and Maggie when he like went off. It's like, oh, we got to go find like Daryl or whatever, and it's like he gets in the car and sees her in the rearview mirror. I'm like, and that's the last time you guys together. Like, it's just.
You know what's interesting about what you just said? Because do you remember how Sadiq's last day on set or last scene was with Rosita in the bed?
Yes.
Okay, so what? This is the stupidest disclaimer. This is the falsest hope that I will ever give you.
Okay.
But it feels like that wasn't Seth Gilliam's last scene. So, Father Gabriel lives. Testify.
He lives to fight another day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
He lives to fight another day.
He would be a really, now, Dave, you're going to take it all wrong, but he would be a good person to kill off. Okay, hear me out.
Yes.
Because
Yeah, no, I hear you.
his character is growing, and he's becoming more confident, more badass, which is right around the time somebody
Life comes and just slaps you down.
Right. He's been a prominent character for many seasons, so a lot of people would be really devastated by his loss.
know.
I agree, Carol. I think they'll do it in a very epic way to push the storyline forward, too. But I think he would be a good choice to kill off. I think he would have the right impact, and it would drive the storyline.
I don't know what episode.
My
number
headphones
it is.
went out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Nice.
Sorry.
I
Somewhere.
don't know what number episode it is, but there is an episode coming up called The Water Tower.
There's also one called Look at the Flowers.
I saw that. I saw that.
Oh boy. But you know what's so crazy about that is that could be like, because they do this sometimes. That could be a total troll. Total troll move.
What's next week's episode called?
Walk with us.
Walk with us.
Walk with us.
Ew.
Fire Walk with Me. What was that from? Fire Walk with
Twin
Me.
Peaks. That song was awesome.
Yes. Thank you. David Lynch. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the song to Stephanie, the thing that he was trying to find. Eugene.
Yeah, he sings a really sweet song, When the Wild Winds Blow by Iron Maiden, and it was written for a 1986 animation called When the Wind Blows. Now, this is my favorite part because that animation is about an elderly couple. They build a shelter, like a bomb shelter, underground for the upcoming nuclear apocalypse. So it's sweet. Eugene singing this song about a couple who basically spends the apocalypse together.
Isn't that crazy? Because until now, we've been in a Cold War.
A Cold War. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And now we're like on the eve of destruction, which kind of like I don't know, when he's like reciting these lyrics, like I hear like like the what is it, the war drums.
Yes.
And I can almost hear like the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, like the fife or whatever it is.
God.
In a way. I hear America, actually, in Eugene's voice. The heartland. I hear from a little birdie that, Carol, your recaps are coming back with a vengeance.
Yes. Went on a binge this weekend, so they're all going to be uploaded tomorrow. Woohoo.
Feast or famine. All right.
Yep. Feast or famine.
There we go.
Pretty much.
Well, get your eyeballs ready.
I know.
Bitches.
Pretty much. Exactly. It's your cliff notes to the second half of the season.
That's what you should call your thing. Like your
That's
cliff notes to
true.
the apocalypse.
Cliff notes to the apocalypse. I like that. Good.
By the end of that scene with Eugene and Stephanie, she chimes back in and she says, I'm in Charleston, West Virginia, Southern Rails, about a mile south of the Kanawha River, 1 week. And my note to that is a lot can happen in a week. Apparently,
sure.
A whole entire conversation with Stephanie can happen in a week. Dante dies. Dante comes. Dante dies. Beta massacres Alexandria. It's kind of like All Out War all over again, in a way, except it's happening a lot quicker than All Out War.
Yeah, they've been very successful with this Whisper War because they're like keeping the pace fast. Like they're not dragging it out. They could drag it out. The comic kind of drags it out, actually. So they're like keeping it moving, you know?
Yeah.
So.
He says, let's get this over with to Rosita. He's like, I've got a date.
Yeah,
I love that.
Was so cute.
That was awesome.
I kind of missed it the first time.
I got it.
Like, in a way, you know?
I love it. I love that. I was like, good for you, Eugene.
I was so happy that happened too, because I the way Eugene was looking and feeling, like that almost gave him like like that, you know,
courage.
Yeah, to like go out and fight and like, I got shit to do, man. I'm gonna survive this.
Yeah, like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah,
somebody to fight for.
I got a date. I'm gonna make it to that date.
Oh,
love it.
Well, I lost an arm and a leg. I'm kidding. But at least we're together now. I don't like keeping people.
Ponytail off while I said it.
Wouldn't that? I would like that. I would sincerely like Josh McDermott. I wonder what he's feeling about that, because it's just like it's looking a little bit,
a little long,
a little awkward. Yeah. I whip my hair back and forth.
80s rat tail.
Yeah. Oh well, it's even worse. Like, I mean, a rat tail's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid of the 80s who used to go to the public swimming pool.
And those were popular.
It was everywhere.
They were popular in that time. Yeah.
Especially with those stupid hats that hid the rat tails, so you didn't really know until they took it off. But then it had the little Arabian almost sheath in the back that would flap in the wind along with the rat tail. Ugh. Ooh, sorry. Got shivers. But then again, I had a Scott Baio haircut, so who's to judge, right?
There you go.
Kids, I had hair once. So, all right. There's a concerted thing between Alden and Earl Sutton that kind of continues, because we see this. I think we see this in we see this all throughout season 10. And we're kind of getting back to it again. Like, we saw a little bit of it in the beginning, and now we're kind of back to it again. You know, Earl's lost Tammy Rose, and Alden lost Enid, and so we get to see this again, but we get to see this almost like father-son relationship now, and they're just stoking each other's fires, and there's almost like a hint of xenophobia there, because Alexandra's pulling this shit again with new people. Like, why do they have to come to us?
Here we go again.
So, and you know, that concern is there, and then when they find out who it is, it's kind of like, oh, fuck no. That shit's no.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but there's something about it that gets me thinking, like, I mean, are they wrong, though, in a way, right? Are they really, really wrong in
I was hoping to see
protecting their son,
I was hoping to see a moment of, like, Gamma and Lydia, because they're both in the same place, right?
You do see them fight next to each other, I think, right?
Right. Because the last time, obviously, like Gamma was thrown for a loop seeing Lydia. Like, it was like she saw a ghost. And like that's what kind of like set her off to be like, what the hell is going on or whatever. So I don't know. I was hoping we would see like more between them, you know, like maybe just Gamma trying to get intel from Lydia on like what the hell has been going on.
I was really excited to see Alden stand up and kind of get in Aaron's face a little bit over Adam. I mean, you asked,
you were
is it wrong?
raring for that.
I was happy. I was really happy he said what he did. You know, Aaron's like, are we really going to fight about this? And Alden's like, you know what? We are. This is really important. And it is. Everything he said, everything he said was really, was just really, it was so true. And it came from like, I mean, he was angry, but like, you started this and said, are they wrong? Should they let Mary see Adam? And the thing is, you got to answer it from both sides of the fence here. And from Alden and Earl, no, I think they did everything right. Are you kidding? They saw them abandon the baby. They took them in. Why that? No, absolutely not. I mean, think about in today's day and age, right? If you have a closed adoption, you don't see that baby again.
Right.
You don't. You gave up those rights. I feel like this is a same situation. So I was really glad to see Alden step up and really kind of get in Aaron's face a little bit, because you don't see people do that a whole lot. I mean, unless it's Daryl, but he stood up for what was important. And I mean, was it really the time to argue? Probably not. They're getting ready for war, but he stood his ground because this was important. Everything they were doing is for the future of every child in that room right now, including Adam.
By the way, and this is kind of like why I love doing the show, because it's almost as if like these two little archetypes or ideologies are kind of like butting against each other. There's like this idea of like, doing what's right, and then, if you do something right, you should get rewarded for it. But, well, I don't know about that, because the scales aren't quite that balanced just yet. You got to work towards that relationship, or try to at least.
Thanks.
Oh.
Not that bad yet.
I knew you were getting emotional too. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that's the thing about the show that I like exploring is that, like, when you see these two ideas clash together, it's like, it's not even a matter of, like you said, it's not even a matter of right or wrong. It's about making you think. That's what I like about this scene. It's like some people will be like in that one camp and some people will be like in that other camp. But I'm hoping that these two people can actually talk about it, and people can be like, instead of yelling at each other on Twitter, like, no, Alden's like a pussy. And then, like, no. I
mean, maybe eventually down the line. I mean, once Mary has, earned her place and proven she's trustworthy, maybe down the line. But to just show up and be like, that's my nephew, let me see him. Hell no. Back up. No.
Yeah, we had to cobble that shit together, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of us kind of want. That's the thing. The better angels in our nature, the people who are not in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, want to agree with Aaron and be like, okay, look, she's been helping us. She's earned something, But then
I don't think she's earned anything until the war's over.
I think I am more leaning on your side, which is why I brought this up, because there is that whole big side of me that wants to agree with Aaron. There's a lot of things that Aaron has brought up in this season that is just that's really too optimistic for my comfort zone. And yet, like, he's somehow cobbling through somehow, which is interesting because it hasn't come without it's stumbling. Like that whole thing with Gamma probably wasn't going to turn out quite the way we thought it was until Lydia showed up. Mm-hmm. Like, I had my doubts.
So you're glad Lydia showed up and Gamma saw her the way that she did.
I think there was a way that was going to work.
Yeah.
Even though Carol pulled that bullshit move, you're still glad it happened.
Hey man, I said Carol's wrong.
Just saying.
Carol's a lot like Morgan. We know she's not wrong, but she ain't right.
Yeah. There's that. Yeah. Yep.
I didn't think I'd bring that up again.
That
for two seasons.
I think that nailed it. Yep.
That's in a clip, bitch.
No, that's a good way to put it.
But I'm glad I brought up that topic, because it kind of was shelved for a little while, because we did see like, those fucking whisperers, let's fight them, and we didn't kind of know where Alden stood, and now they've kind of just fused together as an entity. It is kind of heartwarming. And now you got me started. It is kind of heartwarming to see them bond over this too. Fuck you.
This was a hard episode.
It was very hard. I mean, take the next step of Hilltop drama is the whole Yumiko Kelly, Luke thing, man. At the beginning of the episode, Kelly's just like, fuck you, Yumiko. And Yumiko's like, what the fuck? She's like, why do you want to come to find Connie? And Yumiko's like, is about to tell her, because you're fucking alive and I want to take care of you while you still are. Mm-hmm. And they're like very resentful and weren't you the bitch that said we gotta go or else we're gonna get caught and shit? So I don't know. There's a lot going on there.
Yumiko wasn't there for that, was she? Yumiko wasn't in the cave.
No. Kelly was the one that said, Kelly, we gotta go.
Well, and it seemed to me, I don't know if you got this impression, it seemed to me that Yumiko, just based on the interaction between Kelly and Yumiko, that Yumiko was going out to retrieve bodies and bury her friends, give her friends a proper burial. Kelly wanted to go out and find them alive.
Well, even then, she was like, she was kind of hesitating. She was saying, like, I don't know if we're even going to find them alive. I don't even know if it's possible to dig them up. Is now the time? And Kelly is like raring to go. She's like, we got to go. We got to go. Yumiko's hesitation really annoys actually both Kelly and Luke in a sense. Okay. And they're almost it's like what they don't know is, and I'm not sure this was expressed to them, is Magna and Yumiko's blowout. I don't think they know. Or who does
the only person, Aaron, Magna said something to Aaron down in the cave, but I think
that's right.
Yeah.
I wrote that in my notes, but I never really got a chance to reveal it because it was a long episode. I mean, well, actually, it wasn't that long. But yes, I don't think the rest of the gang knows about their blowout and how awful Magna was to her, to Yumiko, even though Yumiko didn't quite say the right thing to her before they parted. Right. But it's clear that they both kind of are regretful for how they acted at the time too. So, and by the end of the episode, you do see Yumiko. Was it Yumiko that? Yeah, Yumiko apologizes straight away, and Kelly understands by saying, assholes get shit done. That's literally what she says.
I wrote that down too.
And I like that.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Earl Sutton. Yeah, assholes get things done, Earl.
They do.
It's true though, right? I mean, I'm actually surprised that, just going back to him for just a microsecond, because there is a part of you that kind of agrees with Earl. You got to fight for your place. You got to fight for this place because, there's nothing like it, It's like a blue dog. He's like a bulldog. And there's like that part of you that's kind of like, I kind of respected that old generation, of scrappers.
Yeah, I mean, like there's definitely a generational gap there,
Yeah.
Earl and the rest of the room.
Yeah, and if we want, we could jump right into that because this is how I captioned this section. You don't need Rick Grimes to make decisions.
Right.
You don't need him. And do you remember how we were always talking about the Hilltop formula? How the first in command is usually a jagoff and the second in command usually gets shit done?
Yeah.
Well, what we saw in that room with Yumiko going in after, who was she talking to just beforehand? Oh, to
Felix and Penny.
Right, who were the scouts and they went out and they died. But she goes into this already starting meeting, and I thought that was a cool montage. They go right in, and the meeting's already started, and Yumiko's like, okay, what are you guys talking about? I'm in charge. No, but then Daryl's like, I'm in charge. But all of them have this kind of almost equal voice. Even Earl, even Alden, or was he even there? I don't know. But I thought that was a really cool scene to finally see how Hilltop's broken the cycle somewhat. They figured it out. It's not Yumiko per se, which is to say that maybe her interaction with Magna really chilled her the fuck out too. She didn't feel like she had to be in charge of everything. Which is why I kind of jumped in that way.
While Darrow was kind of explaining the plan, he signed Oceanside, even though Kelly and Magna were not, or Kelly and Connie were not in the room. I thought that was a nice little nod to Yumiko specifically. I didn't forget that they're out there. I'm still thinking about that we have another mission to get to, but we got to do this first.
Was Kelly there though? I think she was there.
I don't think she was in the room because the second time I watched it, I was looking for her. So she was there. She was out of sight, but I didn't see her.
The Donnie and me.
Right, because why else would no one in that room was deaf or hard of hearing. So I assumed it was directed towards Yumiko as just don't worry, I didn't forget. I know they're still out there.
Yeah, I don't think Daryl forgot either, It's like there's something going on there, I think. I don't know. Daryl's allowed to have love.
Of course he is.
As much of an asshole as we are.
Daryl has a lot of love. Where do you think he's lacking?
I don't want to get into this conversation.
In the bedroom.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. And I don't want to know. Because the only person I know that he goes to bed with is Dog.
Dog, right?
Daggle. It's Daggle.
Right.
Hashtag Daggle.
Daggle.
And I try not to judge things, but still.
Honestly.
Kind of gross.
I hope that Connie and Magna are still alive. And I hope that that is a very tightly held secret that her and Daryl finally let the man have something. Let him have something.
Right,
you know?
before he dies, right? Oh, we're not talking about that? We're not talking about that?
He's not dying.
He's not dying.
Daryl ain't going anywhere for a while.
Isn't that the Nightmare on Elm Street playbook, though?
The world would riot.
Second you have sex, you die? No?
Yeah.
British?
Not
What?
for Daryl.
Okay.
Except it would be Connie, because we can't kill Daryl, so.
That would be horrible.
Exactly.
Right?
Horrible.
Yeah. That's why they can't get together. No Donnie.
As much of a shithead as I am, I would probably take a Connie over a Daryl. It's just an awful person I am.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I don't know why. Because there's something about, like, going out in a blaze of glory that sometimes is kind of cool. Like, you know, I found him. Pew. Like, okay, if that was it, that was it. And it would suck, but it, you know, kind of badass. Come on. Let's talk about the times that Judith wants to help Daryl and how she's gone by the end of the episode. What do you think she's after?
Wait.
Was that in the sneak peek or was that the end of the episode?
When Ezekiel's looking for Judith, that was a sneak peek.
Oh, okay, that was in the sneak peek.
Next time on, yeah.
Yeah, so she asks twice. Daryl ignores her the first time. Daryl addresses her the second time. Yeah. And I think he does it because he's kind of cool and wants to, and he sees that she's scared and trying to show her that there's nothing to be, it's okay to be scared because I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I just, like, I do want to take the sneak peek into account. Do you think, like, what do you think Judith is off doing right now?
Well, I think they showed in the preview she's with them, with our group, right? Like they're in like a car or they're in like a little bed or something like that.
Was that Judith?
They did in the.
I didn't see that.
Like they showed her.
I didn't. I saw Kelly, Alden, and Baby Adam. I didn't see Judith.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting if she was there.
Well, the first thing we have to address is the fact that Judith was in the room when Daryl and Ezekiel came up with the plan to save the children. Okay? She heard that. We can't pretend she didn't. So in the sneak peeks, when we see Ezekiel with all the kids and he's wondering where Judith is, my thought is she's off looking for Daryl.
Because he specifically said
not to.
Right. Oh, kids today.
Oh,
what'd you guys think of the redesigned vest?
It was
I
super
appreciate
cute.
it.
Yeah. Although Kaylee Fleming said on Talking Dead that there were 10 stars on there, I have stared at this thing 100 times and I cannot find the 10th star. I found 9. I even drew a picture. I know where 9 of them are, but I do not know where the 10th one is. I can't find it.
I think I counted 10. One of them could be off to the side.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7. There's 7 at the bottom, in the bottom of the wings, down here. And then there's one like midway up there. And then I put 2 circles with question marks because I saw what could be a star up here and down here.
Yeah, I thought they were all at the end of the wings too.
There's only 7
at the end of each feather, right?
No, yeah, there was only 7 at the ends.
Well, I'll take her word for it.
Oh, I believe her. I totally believe her. But I just would I wanted to find them. I wanted to be able to find them.
I remember I lost my shit when I saw the previews into getting into season 10 and actually seeing her hand it to him was kind of rewarding, I think.
I also thought it was a white wing. I didn't realize there was blue in it. That was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, again, blue. Huh.
Yeah, blue.
Huh.
Blue. More blue.
Huh. I guess blue on this show, by the way, means love. Could we maybe agree on that a little bit in a weird way? Every single time we've seen it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's like real shit right there.
Yeah. So now that he has the wing back on, I want to see how he lost it. We still don't know why he lost it.
Well, I mean, that thing is worn away too. Like it looks like he's been dragged by a car or something.
Yeah. Maybe we're just supposed to assume it disintegrated off.
Yeah. Because it does look pretty ratty. I picked up on this really quickly, but eventually Daryl spilled the beans when they're on the road with the kids heading towards Oceanside. I can't remember exactly where. Yeah, it was Oceanside.
With the hangman?
Yeah, they see the roadblock, they see the people hanging from the rafters.
I think he identifies
Negan's strategy.
Yeah.
Which did trigger me a little bit. Like I was like, oof.
Yeah.
And then this is stuff that Negan did.
I figured it out before Daryl said it, and I liked that he actually said it. Like, okay, let's get to the point. Let's just stop assuming things, and somebody actually says it, and then we can move on with everybody knowing Negan's with the alpha, basically.
He said it very calmly.
Well, I was on board 100% last episode. I'm starting to waver this episode with Negan. The scene where he suggests to Alpha that that she not kill everybody, but rather have them join her. He tried that, right? Didn't he try that? It doesn't work. He knows it's not going to work. He knows it's not. He is setting her up, giving her ideas that he knows are going to fail, and also in his mind keep these residents alive.
Yeah, he's a Dante. He's basically Dante for our people.
For us,
he basically infiltrated on their side to basically kind of be a mole and get in there. And Negan gets in there the best way he knows how, romancing. So there you go.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. So there he is, you know. So he's positioned herself as basically almost like her right hand, kind of like, you know. He's got the long game in mind. Now, who let him out of the cell? Was it Daryl or Carol? One of these two let him out.
It's definitely not Daryl, because he was accounted for.
So we think.
Still could be Carol.
Oh, well, yeah, Carol's on the table. That would be interesting. After everything see, you know, the thing that makes me think it's not Carol is how far she's willing to go to, you know, to destroy the horde and all that stuff. Because when she let him out, did they have some sort of weird interaction where he just kind of ran and like, oh, I'm letting you out to do this, this, and that, you know, keep your promise to Judith or something. And he said, go fuck yourself. And, you know, and then Carol's not sure. And then she's like, oh, I made a mistake. Now I have to kill the horde. Like, so you know what I mean? Like, her actions seem like someone who doesn't have somebody on the inside, in my opinion.
Well, that's it. What you just described, though, like her in a panic, like, oh shit, I made a huge mistake. He's out there, and now she's in panic mode. That would explain a lot of her erratic behavior as well.
Right. I just let out a loose cannon. You know, like yet another beta type, like just somebody who had, but somebody with agency. Yeah. A leader, you know, that explains things more. But the thing is, without all that information, I'm just going half cocked. This is me just going, but I could be reading too much into it.
It could be. I mean, maybe.
That should be like the tagline to this show.
Could be that Carol let him out. I mean, that could be her look at the flowers moment, where it's like finally gets her out. She finally gets Alpha to look at the flowers and like finally.
I know. Who's going to be looking at the flowers?
I think it's going to be Alpha.
It'd be way more ironic. I'd be way more ironic if it was Carol looking at the flowers.
If the episode is called "Look at the Flowers" and Alpha dies and it's not Carol who kills her, then I don't know what the hell's going on.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
In my mind, it has to be. It has to be, and that'll unleash all of Beta's rage. Their leader is Dunzo.
Rage Beta. Mm-hmm. Who knows though? I've had.
He'll have a change of heart and he'll join our team and he'll be good. Remember, and sing us country songs.
Yeah,
he made a very funny commentary on Instagram, I think, because I think there was a picture posted of Negan in his like whisperer mask or whatever, drinking a Starbucks, and he was making like, this kind of funny face.
With straw.
And I think
it was a hot Starbucks with a straw or something.
And I think he commented, he's like, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it." Like Whisperer Negan looks like Karen from the Karen from The Office who like fell in the pool or something. Like, and I was like, when he said that, I was like, it does kind of look like. I just love that he has a sense of humor. I love that he's such a beast, but he has a sense of humor.
He's a gentle giant.
I was really happy to see Carolyn and Zeke come back together. I really liked how she found out about, the thyroid cancer and everything. And he didn't say anything. Nothing needed to be said. It was really beautiful. And we got to see a little bit of our old Carol back with her, little dumb humor. It was really nice to see.
Yeah, even though she said I left it on a dresser, she's like, bullshitting him, basically. Yeah.
But it's there.
It's their relationship.
Wait, we're going to die tonight?
Yeah.
That was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask you guys a question, though? I mean, I'm going to ask it anyway, so...
That's why we're here.
I got this really weird feeling after that was all said and done. Like, as much as it was nice to kind of get that little banter between them, something to me felt a little off. There was part of me that was thinking, like, maybe she did this out of pity, or maybe she paused just enough.
I don't think it was pity. I think it's an awkward relationship dynamic right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't
maybe.
I don't know if I would call it pity either, but I think Ezekiel was very right in asking that question. Would that have happened if today weren't today?
Right.
I think that's a very valid question.
And she is a good bullshitter too.
Yes,
so of course she would pivot.
Mm-hmm.
But so the reason why I ask also is something that like Beta says to Mary in the cells, like you were dead the moment we found you, or something like that. You were dead the moment you came to us.
Yeah.
There's almost like that kind of thing going on with Carol though too. Like there is something to be said about like her committing to this sort of thing that tells me like, oh, this is your life. This is what you do. This is everything your life is about right now is revenge. So I'm not sure, and I'm not 100% sure she's done. And she kind of makes that clear to Lydia too.
Oh, yeah.
And what's interesting about that scene is you go back to Alpha Negan, and he explicitly says to her, hey, that would be kind of fun, razing Alexandria and Hilltop to the ground, right? But wouldn't it be better and more satisfying if you got them to join you somehow?
Like surrender, yeah.
But like that parallel of like, I'm sure it would feel good. They use the same words. I'm sure it would feel good. But something you said, by the way, Carol, which got me thinking like, we shouldn't expect Negan to play by normal people's rules in a way, like, because, and the reason why that is because like when you see the two Hilltop scouts hanging from the tree, there's a part of my brain that's going, why would Negan let that happen? And there's another part of my head that would say, but it's Negan.
It's Negan.
Like he would do that just for the greater good or whatever.
It was probably his idea.
Right.
Yeah,
no, it looked like all his idea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is why I'm glad they didn't mince words and they just went straight to the point. Like, even though they drew it out just long enough for you to try to figure it out, and which I did, which I thought was kind of cool that they let you do that.
Yeah.
Like, did you get that vibe immediately when you saw that? When you saw the roadblock and the two hanging bodies?
I saw it. Well, the two hanging bodies didn't make me think Negan. The downed tree did. The tree in the road. Yeah.
Which is what you saw first.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Immediately, I thought, oh shit, he taught her.
I got so triggered too.
Yep.
I remember how I felt like when Simon comes up after they've been going to all these roadblocks.
That was so that
right?
was,
yeah, every group they approach is bigger than the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like waiting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Yes.
That episode still. Those two episodes, like still to this day, it's like, oh God.
Thank God you're here. Yeah. Get through this without you.
That was rough.
But that's, immediately thought of that. And again, like, they didn't just say it outright. They let it simmer. They let you see the tree. They let you look up at the bodies. And and then Daryl's surveying things. And he turns around and says, let's get the fuck out of here. You know who this shit is? This shit is Negan. And he's with Alpha.
Yeah.
So I totally felt a certain way later when Daryl and Judith are having their little moment about being scared and everything, and she refers to them as just walkers. I've killed walkers before, and Daryl's like, they weren't just walkers though. Like my heart, like that. I felt that in my heart. Like when she said that, I'm like, oh, little girl, like. Ooh, jaded.
This is like that, what we see with kids sometimes. Like, we see that there's almost an immediate disassociation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, let me ask you, like, is that a good or a bad thing in a way? Because in a sense, it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah,
right?
I think I'm going to go with mostly bad, but I mean, yes, it's good that you can disassociate.
You're very biased.
I know, right? It's good that you can disassociate and get shit done. But at the same time, when you do that, you're losing your humanity. Like, if you forget that these people were your friends, you're losing yourself.
Yeah.
That's not good.
And Daryl makes really quick work of that, by the way, in his conversation with her. Like, he says, oh, then you know who you're fighting for. Okay, I'm okay with what you just said.
Yeah.
Because at least, okay, you have this, but you also have this. Okay, you know who you're fighting for, you know, your mom, RJ, etc. So
Aunt Carol.
isn't this crazy how much growth like Daryl seems to have too?
Yeah.
It's so insane.
He's evolved. He's the evolved man.
Yeah. Take Daryl and Eugene. Like they really make quick work of like their interactions, their little conflicts with like Daryl with Judith sort of, and Eugene with Rosita too. I mean, you could have seen Eugene be like all mopey pants and whatever, and like never talk, like that usual trope, like, you know, oh, I'll never speak to you again. You ruined my life, Rosita. I wanted you, like that whole thing. But no, he made quick. He knows what's up. He knows what's going on. He knows this means something, but this also means something.
Yeah.
And he even makes that clear to Stephanie. And like with Daryl, it's like it's almost as if he knows exactly what to say to Judith. Like, oh, I know how to speak to you because I know Carl. Oh no, I know Carl, I know Rick, right? Like, I know who I'm talking to. But I also know you, because you're special. You spoke to Negan in that cell. You were kind to him when nobody else would be.
No.
So I know who I'm talking to.
I mean, speaking of Daryl finding the right words, that interaction between him and Ezekiel was just, that was, I mean.
That destroyed me.
Dude, right?
That got me, man. Like kicking the fucking diaphragm.
I was already crying at this point, too. Like, I was crying from the moment. Oh my God, when did I start crying? Oh, from Lydia and Carol, their interaction until right before the war began. I was just,
God.
It was awful.
Shit. You know what they were trying to do? They're trying to empty your tear sacs, your tear ducts.
Yep, it
for
worked.
like the testosterone fueled battle ahead.
Yeah. As soon as blood started flying, I'm like, okay, I'm better now.
I'm good. I'm ready.
I have to say, Speaking of growth, though, it's like they're showing them all getting prepared, and you see Rosita like getting ready, and I was like, you know what? Good for Rosita. Rosita is like still here. She's still here, and she's still kicking ass, punching people out in the lineup. Like she's just like really like just not taking it from anybody. I'm like, good for you.
I feel like she's always been at that level, though, don't you?
But I feel like never as much as like. I feel, I'm saying this and I'm sticking to it. I think that she's getting comic Andrea's send off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I could see that.
You mentioned that before too, by the way. And
yeah.
I
have no idea what that is. Thank goodness. I don't know what that is.
Her extra badassery could probably come from motherhood.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true.
Why not?
That's true. Yeah. That additional fuel to the fire. So,
yeah.
But I appreciated that. I was like, good for her. Look at her. Ready to like kick ass.
Often like the way some deaths go, they seem to do this weird thing where it means much more on the television show than it does in the comic. So this could probably be one of those things, even though I have no idea what you're talking about. Thank goodness.
So, like, if you're right, though, Carol, that's going to be pretty soon.
Coming. Yeah. I'm telling you, some of these people are not long for this world. Like,
again, though, I would put Rosita in that same category as Father Gabriel, though. Like,
it would make an impact.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll make a prediction.
But still move everything forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I'll definitely make a prediction.
Totally possible. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would say they would take Rosita, but they would probably still keep Father Gabriel.
No, I'm sorry.
You think so?
I hate to hurt. I don't want to disappoint you, but I'm telling you, your man's toast.
I'll tell you why. Because Alexandria is already pretty decimated, and so there's a part of me that's thinking, okay, well, how much more can they take, or how many more people can they take? I mean, this is after
we don't have nurses. Like we're got a skeleton crew.
Although they did mention that this character that we've only heard their name, Alex. Have we ever met Alex?
Alex the doctor. I can't picture him.
We have never met said Alex.
Or her. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
I have no idea. What if it's another whisperer?
Oh, fuck me. We're already predicting the character. What's it, Jules?
Jules, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was another big question mark.
Enough out of you, Twitter. I don't need your shit.
So we also need to remember that Christian Serratos is doing that Netflix series too. So I think it would be likely that she would die.
Selena?
Off.
Is that what it is?
Selena series. Yeah.
Selena. Yeah.
So she's
now. I mean, she could do both. We know it's possible for actors to do both, but
only wrapped already too. I think by the time they started production on Selena, right?
I have no idea.
Possible.
No clue.
Well, I think if Rosita goes, that would be a good send off for her.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
You know what's very interesting about what you're saying? Well, the only reason why I thought Gabriel was still going to stick around, and then we go back to Rosita, and then she's not going to be around, is that you'd think that she'd want to be there with Eugene to protect him also. Maybe, but then maybe go back to Coco. I don't know.
Well,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
The way she goes out could very well have to do with protecting.
When you say protecting Eugene, do you mean like on the travels to meeting Stephanie, or in what capacity? Which
could be just escaping from the horde. Could be,
that's what I'm thinking too.
All right, just in a general protective. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the tumblers are starting to align, and you could start to turn the key at some point. But man, oh boy. Happy day. But I did want to go back to like Ezekiel and Daryl. That was very raw, very honest. because you're watching this scene on the heels of Lydia and Carol having the conversation, right? With Ezekiel in the background, watching them. Like the one thing that they say to each other is like, at least you're not lying to me. At least you're being upfront and honest with me. And then you cue the next scene, like, because I mean that scene is great on its own. Like there's something about like and there's a parallel, because if you remember last season at the end, it's the storm. Lydia's almost death by walker, and she's going, you should hate me. You should want me dead, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this kind of like return here. Like, okay, Carol's going to Lydia because what did she do? She used her as a pawn. She dragged her out in the middle of nowhere, under false pretenses, and tried to use her. And she's like, enough. I thought you were supposed to protect me. They beat me up. You were supposed to keep me safe. The first thing Carol says to her is, you should hate me. And Lydia says, it's hard when you seem to hate yourself so much, which immediately brought me back to Maggie and Negan. Maggie trying to kill Negan in the cell, and she can't do it because he hates himself more than she wants him dead. And then you get this other parallel, like where last year Carol is, Lydia's begging Carol to kill her, because she can't seem to do it by Walker because they keep finding her. And it's like, complete reversal right now. I mean, even the smoking of the cigarettes, which is like kind of a Daryl move. You see her in the tent next to the water, which is what Daryl, like self-imposed exile. The roles are completely reversed. But all of this leads to one thing. There is literally something about when Carol and Daryl finally sort of talk, and he's looking at Glenn's grave, and she's going, literally, like, you should hate me, like, please don't hate me, basically.
Right. He said, I could never hate you.
Right. But that's the reason why, and she's looking at Glenn in Maggie's office, and he's looking at Glenn's grave, and there's something about they are kind of finally meeting, and they are finally kind of realizing what happened, like, what the other did, and it does come back to that one thing, and that's, I hate in others what I hate in myself. And it all comes back to like that was that season ender? No, the season opener where Daryl went buck wild and got Glenn killed. Like he had his own plan and he decided upon himself to try to do something about it, and it got Glenn killed. And what has Carol been doing this whole season? Deciding for herself, not consulting the group, and getting possibly people killed. And I do think somebody's going to die, and I think it's going to be Magna. That's my opinion.
Quick question.
You think Daryl will have his hookup with Connie? Just keeping that really?
I don't know.
What
maybe.
It was very clear to me that Daryl was in the cemetery, but what did you see that led you to believe it was Glenn specifically's grave?
It just makes sense. I mean, to be honest, like it makes sense.
Okay.
Just because
I didn't assume he was at anyone's grave specifically. I just noted that he was in the cemetery.
I would bet a shit ton of money on it. Because it just makes too much sense. Carol's looking at Glenn's painting, Anne's painting. Closing the book on the Carol-Daryl thing, I'm never going to hate you. But then there's also still, like, he does have to walk away.
He's mad. He's mad.
Well, he doesn't know what to do, you know?
Not everybody's mad. Doesn't mean he hates her.
And it does kind of go back to, like, also Eugene. Because, like, there is, like, this growth. There is, like, okay, look, I'm not stupid enough to say, like, I may be mad at you, but I'm never going to hate you. Like, Rosita, you're my friend, but right now get the fuck out of here. So there's something to be said about like these people having these parallels and having these growth spurts and knowing what to do when there's a fucking problem. Like I'm not going to pretend like I'm not pissed, but
right. Carol, how many times have your kids pissed you off and you're like, I love you, but you need to go in another room right now. Like I can't look at you.
Doesn't change the fact that you love them.
Exactly. But you need to go in another room right now. I just can't see you.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
I had just a couple of little nuggets that I really appreciated this episode, and one of which was Kelly when she dug her hand into the grounds to feel the vibration of the horde coming.
That was cool.
Oh, that gave me chills.
It's like they're coming.
Remember when she got down on the ground and stuck her hand under the dirt?
Yeah, it was very like Old West. Like Native American feels the tracks to see if the train's coming.
But she would be more susceptible to that. She would feel that. She would know how to feel that.
I wonder if that's real because I guess it does make sense though, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Nobody else would have been as sensitive to the vibration.
Like adept. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I did want to bring up the balloons only because like I actually did like part of me was just kind of like what? Pine tree sap? Like what? With the what?
I wanted to look into that too. I don't know enough about.
I did.
Okay, thank you. Good.
And you know what's really fucked up about it?
It's highly flammable. I hope.
Yeah, it's extremely flammable, and which is why like it's like, look, this is from a Jewish perspective. Why the fuck do people put that shit in your house? Because I've seen the videos, like. Those things go up really fast, and the reason is the pine sap. Once it gets in the middle, they explode. They explode with flames.
Like a Christmas tree. You're talking about a real tree. Oh, yeah.
Oh, like a real Christmas pine tree, yeah. Like, they explode. Like, okay, it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games with the leaves at first. You know, like wet leaves. Oh, that's great. Oh, this house is on fire. Awesome. But then as soon as it reaches that vein of tree sap.
You've never had a Christmas tree in your house. You can tell.
No.
They don't have leaves. They have needles.
No, like the little nettles, like the little spruce things. I don't know what the fuck they're called. Man, I used to pick them when I was a kid. Whatever, the fucking leaves. Anyway. But once it reaches that vein of fucking pine sap, that shit's a wrap. Like, it's so bad that, like, the camera that was filming the room where all the equipment was to test the tree, like, how long it would take the tree to burn up the entire room, like, the camera, like, flew back, like, and then kind of, like, did this thing, like it rattled a bit, because there was, like a concussive blast or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and, like, they're telling people, I don't know why this isn't a thing that happens every year. Oh, you know, for tree safety, you know, make sure the water levels are just right, and because you don't want dry leaves and shit. Mm-hmm. But holy shit, they're right. That's all I have to say about that. Like, I'm kind of amazed. Cool. Yeah, it's highly flammable. Highly flammable. So, you know, in case you're out in the woods and you need a light, you need to make a little fire. Yeah, take a zombie arm and then douse it in pine sap. It'll smell great. It'll smell like Christmas, Jerry.
Hey, who's Daito?
Damn it. You know, I was going to look that up, but that is such a generic name that fits so many damn things. I said, fuck this.
Well, Judith is calling to Oceanside? ? So there's a Daito at Oceanside?
See, Daito is like Japanese, right? Oh, and now the question. Undead Walking asks it as well. Who is Daito in season 10 of The Walking Dead?
Judith knows.
Oh, they're speculating that Daito is Michonne.
What?
Why
wouldn't you just call her Mom?
If you want to read the article, like, okay, we made mention of it. If you want to read the article, I'll link to it in the blog or in the episode description.
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, I also I liked Eugene's little nod to himself as soon as the electrical line started working. That the first walker's head come off, and then Eugene.
Yeah.
Yep, there it goes.
Yeah. He's like nodding his head like Yeezy.
Oh yeah, and did you see who Ezekiel takes the sledgehammer from?
I didn't. Who?
William Bell.
Oh, did he fall?
No, he had it on his back, and William had another weapon. Ezekiel loses his, and then he grabs the sledgehammer from William's back. That
is a great segue. By the way, William Bell, excellent background actor.
Oh yeah.
Great segue for something else that I found out because I asked him.
Oh.
Do you know who else was a background actor in this episode that I hadn't seen before?
No, I feel bad that I don't know.
I'll skip to the end. Lance, Meloji Media is in this episode.
I did see him! Honey,
right?
We were watching, and I said I thought I saw Lance!
What is happening? Holy fuck, is there a fire?
No.
What the fuck?
The Christmas tree's on fire. Run, Eric.
We were watching the episode, and I said, I think that was Lance. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Confirmed.
Awesome.
I wanted to give him the hugest of shout-outs.
Remember when I said I think that's Lance? It was. I was right.
Yeah.
He's less.
No, I'm trying to calm my heart. I thought shit was going down. We were either on fire or we were getting shot at. One of the two. I wasn't sure which one.
No Christmas trees in here.
Good stuff.
That's awesome. That makes me so excited.
Yeah. So, yeah, shout out to Meloji Media on Instagram. Yes. Yeah. What a great dude. And I was so happy. He was so very grateful. Like, and I even asked him, hey, can I shout you out on the podcast? Because,
awesome.
You deserve it. They are lucky. I said, they are lucky to have you, sir. They are lucky to have you. And he was in quite a few shots too. I mean,
was he? Okay, I saw him in one really good one.
He was in at least 3. And
oh man, okay.
You know, they had Karen Cisse, Birdie. They really pulled out the stops.
Birdie too.
Yeah, Anthony Michael Lopez, who plays Oscar. They really brought all the black background. I don't know if I saw Beth Merritt or any of Jennifer Angel. I don't know if I saw them. But I saw all the others.
Now I know we saw Marco Gustavo Gomez during the teaser trailer, but I didn't see him
at all.
I didn't see him in the episode. Yeah,
which I'm almost leaning towards saying, like, I don't know if we will ever see him. I feel like maybe because I know he has this new series, by the way.
Okay, I mean he was in the credits, so they're still saying he's there.
Yeah, well, he's probably under contract too. You never know. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway,
yeah. We did see him in the teaser, though.
Yeah, we did. Oh, sure. Man, and he was in the beginning episodes too. Or he was like somewhere in this season that I saw him, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing: like, I love that you brought those things up because those are things I would have missed. But look, the whole the Battle of Hilltop, so little notes. Alpha admitting to Negan, I'm going to get them to join, but as part of my horde. That's a pretty good reveal right before the end. I said, shame about Eugene's electrified fence. I also said, though, it's kind of cool to see Aaron getting to show his battle skills the same way we saw at the beginning of the season. Formation, and then the cool little slow-mo montages of him throwing the spears and all that stuff. And like all these different roles that everybody has, the archers and all that stuff. So it was kind of cool to see him do that again.
It's they really
are, and they really are splitting up these leadership roles accordingly too. There was one thing that Negan does at the beginning of the episode that really is really odd, and I don't know what to make of it. He does this thing where, like, before he whacks Alpha's inner arm, like, he's almost like, you've been cut up enough. Like, he's almost like connecting with her in a way. So that alone on its face is really weird, like, just to see him care for her and on its face. But then, like, knowing Alpha doesn't respond to that sentiment. So I don't know what vibe he's trying to put out. And I don't know if I'm looking too much into it, but it's just one thing that just kind of just didn't, like, I'm shaking the Tic Tac thing and I'm just like, is there anything in here?
Well, with everything else that went on this episode, I don't think he did care for her. I think he was attempting to do that, but he's going to find out real quick that, like you said, she doesn't respond to that, and caring about her is not going to. That's not how he's going to win her over. You know? And then in the next scene we see is when he suggests, not just killing everybody, but in fact, bringing them into the Whispers. I noticed the way Samantha Morton held the switch when she hit Negan. Yeah, how she does this. That was an interesting pose to me. And I thought, nobody just does that. He picked it up and he just went whack, whack. She had this whole setup and everything. That, to me, felt like someone who has been on the receiving end multiple times. And
receiving?
Not because she... Yes, and not
I was thinking, like, giving.
No, well, this is a taught move. She saw somebody do that first, and I'm guessing it was because it was done to her, and now that's how she does it to other people.
Pain made me.
Yeah, because we've seen even Beta when he's doing the switch, he doesn't do that wind up. He doesn't do that flick move.
Have you seen Beta?
I'm just saying, like, that it was a specific move that she did with that switch, and I thought that's a learned behavior. She learned that.
We're done.
I know.
I'm done. I'm like a turkey.
Bedtime.
On Thanksgiving Day, I'm a turkey. So if you like what you heard, folks, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell us how wrong we fucking are. Tell us how wrong we are. Give us a thumbs down. Who gives a shit? It's your show. We give you the opportunity to express yourself any way you want. But if you're going to do it on ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. Leave an eggplant and nothing else. And 5 stars while you're at it. 5 stars. Or nothing. Whatever. 5 stars is pretty good, though. Maybe 5 eggplants. Anyway, and also, if you like what we're doing and you want to hear more, you can get some pre-show. You can also get some post-show. And you can also get the entire unedited version of this podcast if you support us on ko-fi/squawkingdead. You will get to be a part of the recordings in our real-time chat. You'll get the entire unedited episode to download in both video and audio formats. And obviously, you'll be able to get in on the ground level on any new features that we roll out. I want to end this thing so quickly so that we can quickly get to the next episode, because that's how the rest of the season seems to be laying out. I need it in my veins. You know, I'm already missing it. I'm already missing it. I'm going to regret those words soon, of course. But, you know, I guess we'll see you next week, and we're going to find out how it all turned out. If you see me all disheveled and, you know, like meth-addled and stuff like that, yeah, it's because I'm missing this show, and I need to get back to it. We need to keep talking about it. I'm glad we were here for you in this hand-holding session, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.